Good morning and welcome back. I am starving. It is very late morning. I had like a light breakfast, but I need to eat something that is more filling. I'm officially at 6 weeks AIP. I don't even understand where the time went. It flew by. I started at the end of August. It's now early October, and I cannot believe that I've made it 6 weeks. I think the first week was like a transitional week, but I have made it, and now I get to start reintroducing food, which I'm going to get to after. But first things first is I need to eat. I've been eating a lot of my coconut yogurt and berries. I know I'm talking about it all the time. I'm not going to talk about it anymore, but I'm actually just going to have some protein. I am going to meet some friends who are in town, and I'm so happy to see my friends who I realize I haven't seen in 2 years since one of their weddings. It was 2 years ago in November. She got married when I saw both of them, and I haven't seen them since. So pretty crazy, but I need to eat before I go meet them because eating out AIP is very hard. I did go out for dinner with them last night. I had a burger, no bun, no cheese, on lettuce, and sweet potato fries. It was good, but I definitely feel a little off from eating out. And I think it's just like eating out in general. If you're used to eating at home, which I have been for the past 6 weeks, like I only think I've eaten out like 2 or 3 times, and I've always gotten bacon and avocado as my meal. So that dinner was lovely, but I definitely like did not feel as refreshed after food. So I'm hoping this meal like resets my system a little bit. And I'm just gonna have some ground beef. Just gonna be like a carnivore in this moment. I'm just gonna have a little bowl of ground beef. If an avocado is ripe, I'm gonna add in some avocado. But that is basically one of the main things I've been eating. It's just ground beef, bacon, meats. I've been a carnivore basically. So I need to eat before I go see them and have some fun. So let's get cooking and get this like borderline hanger, low blood sugar situation solved. This previous week has been really busy for me work-wise, and I just did not plan food enough, and I felt very agitated about not eating like good meals and just like very function and not enjoyment. I think for me the hardest thing is breakfast. It has always been my favorite meal of the day, and when you can't have eggs, you can't have potatoes, a lot of things you can't have. Breakfast just doesn't feel as exciting, and having coconut yogurt every day with berries, it's not that filling. It really is not like an enjoyable breakfast in my opinion. But I did see my naturopath, kinesiologist, chiropractor. He's kind of like an all-in-one. I think I was saying in a previous video of seeing a new healer. It went really well, and we did some more food tests. Turns out I am intolerant to eggs, at least right now, whether that's like a forever thing or just something that my body is responding to right now. So I really can't reintroduce eggs, which was going to be one of my first things to reintroduce. So that was a kind of a blow for me. And then another thing that I was told I cannot have is onions. Who would have thought, though I did research it after, and I guess it is a relatively, I guess like not, I'm more common and not as unheard of as I thought. So I think that was why I actually wasn't feeling better. I think in my last vlog, I talked about how I've been doing AIP for almost a month, and I really had not felt a difference. Like I had a headache every single day. I thought that was detoxing. It definitely wasn't. I think it actually was onions. I started eating more onions to add flavor into my meals because, again, there's not a lot of flavor on AIP. And once I cut the onions out, which was about, I think like 2 weeks ago now, the headaches have become way more bearable. They're not every single day. I definitely still have headaches, but I feel like I'm not waking up with a headache. Like the second my eyes open, I'm already in pain. So I'm able to manage that better, and I start to feel like, okay, something is making a difference. And then also from eating out last night and like not feeling my best after it, I was like, oh, maybe AIP actually is helping, especially eating at home and just being more aware of what I'm eating, how I'm eating it. But when you eat meals like this, it's not as exciting. It's just not. But one of my friends is a chef. I think I mentioned that she's been helping me, and she's actually doing a lot of these food adjustments as well right now. So I feel like I have a support group. God bless her. Thank you, Olivia, for all your help and support. But I do think that this is how I want to be like living at least 80% of the time when I'm at home and cooking for myself, so that I can actually manage my inflammation. I definitely don't feel or look as inflamed. I would say that the autoimmune flare-ups that I've been getting the past 2.5 weeks have been better. So at least my immune system isn't attacking itself right now, which is like really cool and really fun. So that is the goal, is to just like get those to minimum at like 0 would be ideal. And then, yeah, start introducing food. So I think the first food I'm going to reintroduce is rice, because I need a carb. I think my blood sugar situation has just like not been great because I don't have enough carb and starch. So I'm going to introduce rice tonight because we're going out for dinner again. And I was like, I need to eat something more than just like sweet potatoes and a protein, because that's all I've really been doing. So I'm going to start with rice tonight. And the way to introduce it is you introduce it every day for 3 days, basically. If you get a reaction after the first time you introduce it, you don't keep having it. But ideally, you want to eat it every day for 3 days. And if you don't have a reaction, then it's like a safe food to reintroduce. So that's my goal, is that I can have rice again, because I would really, really love to be able to eat rice and not just have sweet potato. But I'm going to keep eating this avocado and ground beef and fuel my system. I'm home from dinner. It was so lovely, but it was actually really sad because the plan was to watch sunset at dinner. We went to Nobu in Malibu. My friend Anna and Lindsay, who were in town, they were so good. They somehow booked this, which it's like almost impossible to book Nobu Malibu. But they got the booking and I was like, perfect. It's going to be a 6:45 rezo. We're going to watch the sunset. And as you saw, it was the grayest day. Like in my area, in like East LA, it was sunny and so hot. And then I got down to Santa Monica to see them, and it was overcast, like 10 degrees colder. And there was no view of the sunset from Nobu. And I know that sounds so like annoying to be like, oh, I didn't get to see the sunset, but truly that was what we were looking forward to. Obviously the meal's really good, but we didn't get the view of the sunset, so we really just had to lean into the vibes of Nobu. But the good thing is Nobu is always a good time. It's something that I really haven't experienced much until moving to LA. Like I had gone once before moving to LA in my 20s for a friend's bachelorette, which was really lovely, but it's different when you're going for a bachelorette versus like going for yourself, or like being more intentional for like it's something you want to enjoy, not like a group thing. And I think I was also like intimidated by it when I went for my friend's bachelorette, whereas now like I'll ask the server questions about the menu and like what they recommend and try different things. So the food was amazing. And as I said earlier, I introduced rice for the first time in 6 weeks. And oh my gosh, I forgot how much I love rice. Rice has been one of my favorite carbs or starches. I don't really know what it's classified as, but it's been one of my favorite like my whole life. So it was actually really nice to have that again. And the good thing about Nobu is like all the food is very clean. It's usually just like raw fish, cooked fish. We did get a steak as well, but everything is like made really well. Like as I was eating it, I actually felt better, even though earlier today I did not feel great since eating out last night. So obviously the price point's very different at Nobu compared to other places. It is not somewhere I normally go. This was definitely like a treat and a special thing with my friends. And it is nice to be able to do that. It's not something that, again, is a common thing, but being able to have a memory like that, especially for my friend, both my friend Anna and Lindsay, this was like their first proper time at Nobu. And so to have that together felt like extra special. So the price point's higher, but also the food quality is much higher. And I feel truly just like really good after eating there, which is kind of crazy because I definitely had a few peppers, which is not on the AIP. So I didn't necessarily want to like start reintroducing that, but the jalapeno pepper on the sashimi, just a part of the experience. I had to do it. So the rice so far, I don't feel any reaction. I think tomorrow I'll be able to see if there's like more reaction. And again, I'm going to try to have rice tomorrow, see how I feel. And if I still feel fine, then I'll have rice on the following day. And if that's good, then I think I can eat rice again. And I think my approach is going to be like everything in moderation. Like I said, I want to try to eat, I guess, like as clean AIP as possible at home. But I do need to figure out other options for me to just have more substantial meals, I guess is the best way of putting it, so that I don't feel like my blood sugar is dropping and I'm like shaking and dizzy, because I definitely have been feeling a lot of that since being on AIP. So it'll be interesting to see how I feel tomorrow, if anything changes. But it was really just such a lovely night to have time with my friends, catch up, and it just feels like no time has passed, even though I haven't seen them in 2 years. So it just goes to show that like a good friend, a real friendship is you can pick up where you left off no matter how much time has passed. I also have started using a new moisture, I guess it's a moisture pad. It's from CosRx. This is the snail mucin that everyone uses. I use it too from this brand, and I also use their pimple patches. But I got a sample of this in a previous order, and it really made a difference for my skin. So it's like these little cotton pads that have been soaked in, sorry, my camera died. But yeah, these are the little pads, but they're just like full of moisture. And I feel like it's made a really big difference in my skin. I definitely tend to have more dry skin than oily skin. So I think if that's something that you deal with, it could be a worthy investment. I think it was like $15 or $20 for this. And then I follow up with a little bit of this, the snail mucin. So I try to do this most days before my moisturizer. Extra moisturizer, getting the skin plump. And that's basically my like bedtime routine right now. I'll do my Dennis Gross moisturizer. It's like a anti-aging moisturizer. I'll put the links below, because I do find that these are like my favorite products that I end up coming back to time and time again. And then it's bedtime. Get that skin full of hydration, get my body. I'm gonna have some water before bed, and I hopefully will wake up feeling like amazing tomorrow. I hopefully will just start tomorrow on a high note, feeling my best and spending more time with my friends and just doing fun things. See, like my skin, it feels like it's like in a pretty good place right now. So the snail mucin, the CosRx pads, and my moisturizer seems like a good trifecta so far.
It's like this right here.
Your new favorite pizza place.
Garage pizza. So fire.
And I can confirm I can't eat any of it because there's no gluten-free, and obviously I can't have cheese. I can't have any of it, but I'm here and I got a matcha. That was my little snack, is a matcha. I also have ground beef at home to eat because I cooked a bunch of ground beef in preparation for this week, just so I knew I would have lunch, and I can have that with like an avocado, probably some sweet potato. It is 2 days after I last vlogged, I think. I think it's 2 days. Yesterday, I still spent the day with my friend Anna and Lindsay. It was really a lovely day, and I decided to not take video and actually just be present. Mostly because we were catching up, walking around, and I just didn't feel like having my camera out, which actually felt really nice to just like catch up with them. And it felt like we hadn't had any time pass since we had seen each other. So it was a lovely day. The weather in LA was sort of chaotic for them, but the sun did end up coming out, and I'm glad that they got to enjoy a bit of sunny LA, because it's always the worst when people come to LA and it's like gray or raining and they don't experience the sunshine in LA. So that was a really lovely end of the weekend, and now I am getting my life back together. And I was just saying this to Michael, that I forget how much energy socializing takes, especially for me dealing with chronic fatigue. I'm way more fatigued than the average person after spending like 2 days with friends. And we didn't even do a lot, and I was in bed at a reasonable time every night. So it's not even like I was out partying. I don't know how I lived in my 20s, to be honest, when I look back, but I feel like I got hit by a truck today. I woke up and I was not feeling great energy-wise. I did start feeling a migraine come on yesterday. I couldn't figure out if it was like weather-related or food-related because, as you know, I'm trying to reintroduce food. So I've put a pause on the reintroducing of food until my energy comes back, because again, this fatigue could be related to food, or it could be related to just socializing and not having energy after socializing. So no new foods. We're going to go back to AIP 100% for the next like week, maybe week and a half, and then get reset and then try to reintroduce foods, because again, I can't really tell if it was a trigger, because it doesn't feel like the same type of flare up I've been having. It really does feel like the overarching full body fatigue. So that's going to be a pause, but that's fine. And I was very kind to myself this morning, and I stayed in bed. I worked in bed for a couple of hours rather than getting up and like forcing myself to get at my desk and working right away, because I know I could have, but I don't think I would have been mentally in the right headspace to do that. So it was nice to be able to just like work from bed and get a bunch of emails sent off, get some things organized. We just went outside for lunch, for Michael's lunch, and just sitting in the sun also is like, oh, this is how you get some energy, is you get vitamin D from Mother Nature. So that was really lovely to just like sit outside for honestly 10 minutes before we get back to work. I time blocked out the rest of my day. This is something I do try to do when I'm feeling overwhelmed or tired, is I remove my ability to change my schedule by saying, I don't want to do that, maybe I'll do it later. And I actually just time block everything out. So I went through my calendar, time blocked everything, so I know what I am going to do today, what I have to do, and when I will be done working and can actually rest and relax tonight. So I am looking forward to finishing the time block. But until then, I'm going to stay focused, probably put on a podcast, and just get my work done so that I can rest tonight, get my energy back. And I've just been trying to be kind to myself about, I just have more fatigue than the average person. And that's okay. And recognizing how I can take care of myself when I don't feel good. Like you can probably hear to my voice, even my voice feels fatigued, and I wasn't yelling this weekend. So not sure what that's about, but I do think taking it a bit easy and giving myself a bit of a break going into this week will be really nice. Okay.
They're sizzling.
Chef.
Look at them wings.
Delicious.
Look at them wings. Sorry. Get excited.
My contribution of asparagus.
There you go.
Teamwork. Wings and asparagus from the chef.
Yes, well, AIP friendly.
Very AIP friendly.
Right?
Seasoning is salt, pepper,
Look how juicy those wings
cilantro,
Mm-hmm.
a little honey.
Yep.
Is that it?
Yep. A little honey, salt and pepper, yep.
Beautiful.
You already said salt and pepper, didn't
I
you?
did, yes.
Yeah.
It is dinner time, and my time blocking today just didn't work out as well as I had hoped. There's always technical difficulties when it comes to work, or maybe I have like a weird energy with technology, but I always run into issues. And it's funny because I was recording another YouTube earlier today about time blocking and routines and how great time blocking is. And then things go wrong and your time blocking just gets like messed up. So I'm adjusting, I'm pivoting, I'm just going with the flow, which is also a part of having a routine, is realizing it's just not always going to work. So I'm going to enjoy dinner, do a little bit of work on the couch, and call it a day, because my head is still really not doing well. I can't figure out what the trigger is. I don't think it was food, because I have different migraines based on if it's food, weather, or just like a traditional migraine. And I think this is a traditional migraine that started yesterday and it just won't subside. So I need to get a good night's sleep so that tomorrow my time blocking hopefully will work and I can get enough done. And I just also don't want to feel this way tomorrow. So fingers crossed, this lovely AIP meal that I'm going back to being very AIP clean will help me feel better, have a good sleep, and tomorrow will be a new day. And it'll be a good day. This week has honestly been very exhausting. I've been pushing myself work-wise. There has been a lot of things on the go with Mary Young. If you haven't followed my brand, you can follow my brand at It's Mary Young on all social channels, also online at maryyoung.com. But we are celebrating 10 years, which is just wild to think about, that I've been in business for 10 years, that I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years. But there has been a lot of stuff going on for the celebration. We're doing a huge giveaway, our biggest giveaway to date. So I guess you should probably go to our Instagram to see that. But I think when this vlog comes up, the giveaway will still be running. So you can go and enter the giveaway. But there's been a lot of different like back end stuff going on with the 10 years, preparing for the end of this year. If you work in retail, you know how crazy Q4 can be. So it has just been a lot work-wise. Obviously YouTube, I've been pumping out the videos for you guys, which I actually love doing. But you might notice that I'm a bit A-type, so I want everything to be like well done. So, standards and expectations I set for myself can be high sometimes, but it has been a fun week of just doing a lot of different things, but also very draining, especially because I wasn't feeling my best when this week started. And I still can't figure out if it was food related from AIP, but I have stopped introducing things. I'm actually traveling at the end of this week, so I don't want to introduce new food and then feel sick for that travel. So I'm just still AIP. The only thing is I have brought coffee back in. So far, it seems fine. I mean, it's delicious. I love it. But yeah, I have reintroduced coffee, and I think that's something that I'm going to pay attention to. If I see like any inflammation or anything like that, then I'll know that coffee's a no-go. But for the most part, eating AIP has actually been easier when you don't go anywhere. So this will be the first trip away while eating AIP. So we'll see how that goes. Eating out is just like near impossible. I really do bring a lot of chomps with me and plantain chips. So I will definitely be packing that for the airport and making sure that I try my best to eat as frequently as possible. I think that's one of the other things I talked about before is like my blood sugar, the spike of not eating consistently if you're traveling, but also just not getting enough like carbs, because only, I guess, technical carb you can get a sweet potato. So that can make things a little bit challenging. At least I've noticed that. But overall, I would say it has helped significantly in terms of like a reset to your body. I did mention that I saw my naturopath and I can't have onions and I can't have eggs. So since cutting out those two, I had cut out eggs this whole time because they're not AIP. But since cutting out onions, I've actually noticed a difference. The migraine I've had this week has not been fun, but I don't think it's food related based on how it feels. It doesn't feel like a food related migraine because I can always tell when they're like one's a trigger. So I'm giving myself more time. And I think that's another big thing I've learned is everywhere I read was just do it for 4 weeks and then you can start reintroducing things. Everybody's different. Everyone reacts differently. And I also think like cleansing and resetting your body is different for people. So it took longer for me. I'm at 7 weeks now. And like I said, in the last like maybe 2 weeks, I just started to feel better. So it was around 6 weeks that I was like, okay, I can actually notice a difference. And then obviously I started to reintroduce food. Again, it could have been the food. It could have been just like oils used at a restaurant. I know a lot of places use seed oils and that can be a huge trigger. So not really sure what the cause of it was, but I'm going to continue AIP probably for another week, hit that 8-week mark, and then see how this weekend away goes. See if I'm like okay after traveling. And then I think rice is going to be the thing I'm going to bring back in again because I do feel like I need more carbs and starch. I just don't think I'm getting enough. But overall, I'm proud of myself for sticking with it. I didn't think I'd be able to stick with it, in all honesty. I thought I would end up bailing because it is a lot of work. I'm celebrating that I did it when I didn't want to do it necessarily. And I'm also excited to go away this weekend. I'm going to see family, which I haven't seen most of my family in like 6 months. So it'll be really nice to see everyone. There was a few health scares this year, so it's nice to be able to see each other when you get a reminder that life is very fragile. So that will be the next vlog. I was going to continue this vlog, but I feel like I've just talked so much. So I'm going to start another vlog for this weekend when I go traveling and take you along when I go back to not necessarily my hometown, but like where my family lives right now. And then you can see a little bit of what it looks like to be AIP on the go and also just my life on the road. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't been following along my series on discipline, now would be a good time to catch up. I'm still using discipline. You should be using discipline. It's not a scary word. And I will see you all on the next one. Love you. Bye.